Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Aquarian. Today is the full moon in Capricorn, and it's happening actually right now as I record this. I meant to record this yesterday, but I've just had a lot going on, and I definitely didn't want to miss the full moon because we're going to do a tarot card pull for every zodiac sign just to see what's going on for the next 2 weeks. But this full moon in the sky is actually pretty quiet. The only planet that is interacting with the full moon is Mars, making a sextile to the sun in Cancer and a trine to the moon in Capricorn. And let me remind everyone, if you would like to join the $11 tier and join it for free for life, you are more than welcome to send me a text message using the show notes where it says send me a text, and just text me your email and I will put you into the $11 tier. And I'll let you all know for the rest of the month. One person already did, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much. It's going to be a really, I think, a cool community where we're going to have chats and we're going to have lives and all sorts of stuff. And if you like magic and you want to talk to other psychics, you want to talk to other astrologers, palmists, runist, I don't know, people who throw runes, tea leaf readers, and we're going to actually perform these readings. So if you want to get in on that, just send me a text with your email. So to talk a little bit more about this particular full moon in Capricorn. So no, not much is happening to it. It could be happening to you. I'm not going to go over every single birthday this time, but I am going to do a poll for each zodiac sign. So don't worry. It'll just 1 minute, or you can skip ahead to it. But I like to think about Capricorn moon. And if you have a Capricorn moon, this is definitely a time that might be most potent for you. Capricorn moons, so the moon is in what's called fall in Capricorn. Or I'm sorry, it's called in detriment. That's what it's called. In fall, it would be Scorpio, but it's in detriment in Capricorn. And that means that what that planet needs, what that planet does naturally, doesn't go along very well with the sign. The moon does best in Cancer. Cancer is the zodiac sign that goes back to the moon, and the moon naturally needs what Cancer is looking for, which is familial bonds, comfort, emotional comfort especially, being understood intuitively, not always having to say what you think and what you need. It's just there for you, like a mother, right? So Cancer is also considered the mother. The moon is considered the mother, or women in general. And that's why this specific full moon, even though there's not a lot going on in the sky in terms of aspects, it is a pretty significant full moon because it's in its detriment. So in terms of what we can manifest or what we can look to in the future for the next 2 weeks, I would look at it more so around what responsibilities you may not want to carry, or what responsibilities you're going to have to carry, whether you like it or not. And the moon, to go a little bit deeper into the moon is our unconscious thoughts. They're not our subconscious thoughts. Subconscious thoughts are more like the 12th house, or they're more like Pluto. Unconscious thoughts are thoughts that you have that you don't know you're having. So I'm an Aries moon. That means that I have unconscious thoughts of independence, of innovation. I think all day long of new ideas, new visions, new possibilities, new horizons. I don't really know I'm thinking. It's just natural to me. That's what I like doing. And so whatever moon you're in, whatever sign your moon is in, that's what you're thinking on a normal basis that could be helping you or maybe even hindering you, depending on what you're saying in the background. But it's your natural proclivity. It's your natural state of mind, where Mercury is how you communicate and how you form those words and how you communicate without words. You know, a lot of people communicate through song, through poetry, through dance, but it's how you want to communicate to the world. So it's a bit more thought out, or it's at least a bit more constructed in your mind. The moon is your own. It's the closest thing to Earth, which is the scientific way of looking at why the moon is so important to us. But it's also because the moon is us. It was hundreds and hundreds of billions of years ago that another planet smashed into our planet. I think that planet was called Tetra or something. But that planet collided with our planet. And it spun our planet so hard, and it crashed our planet so hard that all of the debris spun off of our planet and coalesced together to make our moon. Right? So the moon is literally us, is literally the terrain of the Earth. It's just that it can't grow anything. It's not an entity that has its own ability to survive. Just like mothers, Cancer, the moon, just like they have to tend to us or tend to their babies in order to make sure that their babies survive. So too is the moon tending to us, except we have our own terrain from which we are growing and learning from. So the moon is such a significant part of us, and it's so overlooked because we don't know that we're talking to ourselves. And if you do know you're talking to yourself, you might not know if the way that you're talking to yourself is actually good for you. So when the moon is in Capricorn in detriment, it means that the thoughts that you're having are probably not great. And there's other signs that would indicate your thoughts not being the best, but it's more like coming from a place of lack, coming from a place of duty and responsibility, even if you don't want to have those responsibilities. It might be family responsibilities. And that's probably, I think, the lens that we should look at this Capricorn moon in. It is that this might be the next 2 weeks for most of us, a feeling of rising to a challenge and accepting responsibility, or maybe letting go of responsibilities that we've just naturally taken on, that we don't want to take on, that we didn't want to take on. No matter what, it's taking a stance in your life and recognizing where your priorities lie and what is most important to you, and how you don't want to let the rest of your life fall apart just because you took on these responsibilities, right? So that's, I think, what I want to say about the moon this time. I've been much more elaborate before, but I am trying to let go of scripts, and I'm trying to just sort of riff off of what I know. And I'm sure as we go, you'll get way more out of me. But we're going to start there. And now I'm going to pull 12 cards, one for each zodiac sign. And we're going to look at them from the lens of either letting something go or moving into something bigger. Right? Because the moon is at its fullest. It is at its birthing point, right? With the light. Okay, so I'm going to stop shuffling. I've been shuffling these a lot, so they're definitely shuffled up. And I'm just going to pull the top 12 cards, and we're going to start with Aries. So Aries, oh, well, you all have a great start. So you have the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is such a beautiful reminder that your cup may be running over right now, or you may be feeling really at one with what it is that you want. And if you are feeling like you're stuck or held back in a way, there is a wish here for you. So if you really think about what it is that you want, if you really consider what you're going for in life, I think the next 2 weeks may have a bit of magic for you. The Nine of Cups is always the wish card and saying that you're going to get your wish. So if there's a job you want, or if there is a responsibility that you want, or if there's just another level you want to go to that you haven't been to before, in that sort of birthing way of like, I'm going to take on this responsibility because I'm really excited about it, then this would definitely be a great 2 weeks to assume that responsibility. I'm going to take that for myself because I'm an Aries moon. So the next zodiac is Taurus, and you all have Justice reversed. Justice reversed is feeling like you are being treated unfairly and that you need to take more selfish action, that not everything that you do has to be so objectively thought out. And you might be letting go of, if we're going to use letting go or expanding, I'd say you'd be letting go of the idea that you have to be right all of the time to have feelings. that you have to understand where those feelings are coming from for another person to hear you. That you can take a selfish action if you're okay with the consequences that happen from that selfish action. If you can really stand behind it enough and say, you know what, this is just what I need, and I can't feel bad for needing it, or I can't feel bad for looking at it this way. For some of you, you might have to let go of something that you didn't live up to in a moralistic way, or something that you wish you could do differently or do over again, and you just can't. You're just going to have to let that go. And for another group of you, you might need to learn or let go of any issues surrounding objectivity. So the reversal of justice is that it's a bit more subjective. It's a bit more about what you want. And that might just be what you need to lead into, is what do you want? You know, and not necessarily a pros or cons list, just like, what do you want? Figure out the outcome that you want, the pursuit that you want, whatever it is, and just say that that's, you know, it might be selfish, but that's what I want. All right, so the next group is Gemini. And Gemini, you get the 7 of Pentacles reversed. So you might let go of something that has felt like it hasn't panned out in the way that you wanted it to. It might be something you invested in or you put like a lot of effort in, and you now don't feel as connected to it, or it didn't prove itself to be what you needed. It might be more work than you had anticipated, or that's sustainable. It might not be a sustainable thing. Some of you, it might be something you've invested in quite a bit, and you really at least wanted to come out even, but you're not even coming out even. You might be losing a lot of energy. You might be worrying about things a lot. You might be telling yourself it should work out because I feel like it's my calling or my purpose. And just because it's your purpose doesn't mean that maybe it's fruitful right now. Maybe there's a part of your purpose that you can focus on that doesn't require it to have a return, that it's really just living in your purpose. So some of you might be letting go of things that just didn't pan out, but that also means that you are now going to be more open for new ideas and new innovations, or just new thought processes altogether, because at least you're letting something go that wasn't working. And then we come to Cancer. So we are still in the sun sign Cancer, and you all are creating that full moon in Capricorn. You all get the 4 of Cups. The 4 of Cups can be a lot about depression. It can be about feeling like nothing's living up to your standards, nothing's living up to what you thought it should be. It's kind of similar to what I said about Gemini, but it's more emotional, where Gemini is a bit more financial. This is, I should have so much more than I have, or I'm not going to settle for anything less. And I'm going to say it might be something you have to let go of, because a lot of times when this card comes up in readings, once the person lets this aspect go, of saying that they deserve more than this, or that, you know, nothing that's in front of them is worth it, everything is boring or everything is meaningless, and that can cause that apathy and depression. When they start to look at things like, you know, there's that hand coming out of the clouds to give to the person who's got their arms crossed, that is a gift from the universe, whether it's up to your standards or not, or whether you feel like you should be somewhere else in your life or not. There is something in that glass. And what's the saying? Maybe it's not even a saying, but it's basically looking at something and saying, okay, even if right now it doesn't look like what I want, I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know if it's going to get me out of this funk. I don't know if it's going to just at least, you know, rile me up a little bit. And that's what the 4 of Cups needs. You kind of need to get out of a funk. So I would just take that cup. I would just go have fun. I wouldn't look at the thing that's in front of you as like, it doesn't have to be the end all be all of your life. It could just be something that shakes you out of the emotions you've been in. And then we get to Leo. Yours is the World. This is leaving an entire circumstance behind, or moving on from either a troubled period or a period that you no longer have anything else to learn in. So this could also be long distance travel for some of you, that in the next 2 weeks you book an international trip. But for the most part, it's most likely about being ready to move on to another level. Maybe you're ready to go from dating to living together, or maybe you're ready to go from a middle management job to a higher management job, or maybe you're ready to go back to school so that you can get a better job. You know, there's this sort of recognition that there's a ceiling that you want to break. And you either haven't been able to break it yet, or just now, this is the first time that you felt like, okay, I think I'm beyond this thing. I think that I can see myself catapulted into another area of life. So it's letting go of where you've been and saying that this is all now intuitive. I know this now. I am at a place in my life where I could even predict what's going to happen because I'm so well versed in it that I'm ready to move on. I'm ready for new challenges. I'm ready to take on more, right? That responsibility of Capricorn and the moon in Capricorn. Then we get to Virgo. Okay, you've got 8 of Wands reversed. This can be letting go of things not going your way, letting go of just sort of the mismanagement of your life or the upheaval of your life. Maybe you pride yourself on how well your life runs or the routines that you have and how nothing gets in the way, nothing, even if, you know, certain things are chaotic in your life or certain feelings feel chaotic, you at least are on time, or you at least know the best route, or you at least know how this and that and this and that is supposed to go. And I'd kind of let that go for the next 2 weeks. Maybe there's something that's supposed to feel more in alignment with your routine. Maybe a part of your routine is just built off of what you think it should be rather than what is natural to you. And that might be just important for your own mental health to just let things go. Just let the world crash down around you if it's going to happen, and let yourself improvise and see what new routines need to come in, or what new things that you need to learn in order to get to someplace on time. A lot of times this can be disrupted travel. So some of you may have like travel plans that are going to get disrupted. And some of you may have miscommunications. Some of you may have, just issues show up. So just remember that not everything that falls apart is bad. Sometimes things are falling together. So now we have Libra. Ooh, I'm a Libra. All right, so Knight of Wands reversed. This can be feeling overwhelmed, but in how much you've taken on to pursue. So every single minute might feel like a burnout moment. And you're just going to have to let go of the idea that you are going to be perfect at all of it. You're not going to be perfect at all of it. You might even feel like you've bit off more than you can chew. But the future is still there. Just because you're tentative, or just because you may not feel like as confident as you thought you'd feel, or as in tune or in sync with what you thought was going to feel that way for you. That doesn't mean it's not the right thing. It just means that you might have to recalibrate your energy. There might be something about whatever it is that you're pursuing that requires you to stop and think. And the Knight of Wands doesn't want to stop to think. It just wants to barrel forward. So you might meet people who have a different perspective than you that causes you to stop and think. You might be dealing with a person that makes you angry or want to lash out, but you can't, right? So this can be like a stopping energy. So for the next 2 weeks, I would just let go of the idea that you have to even stand up for yourself in that way. This might just be a humble 2 weeks. This might be a 2 weeks of responsibilities that you're like, wow, I went in maybe too fast, or I went in thinking that I got this, but wow, this is going to be a learning curve, or this is going to be a little hard. But that doesn't mean it's the wrong thing. And Scorpio, you get the Hermit reversed. So this is coming out of a time of solitude, coming out of a time of a lot of thinking. Some of you might have been avoiding a thought process, if we're going literally, but this is for the full moon and something that you're letting go. So you might be letting go of that solitude, of that obsessive need to investigate, or all the queries you might have, all the questions you might have. And you might have been too long in a reflective state. You might have been too long in a, just, I've got to think about this. I need more evidence. I need more investigation. And you just kind of got into a hole. And now you're like, you know what? I need to go out and hang out with my friends. I need to gain new perspectives. I need to open the floor up. I need to let social life come in and cleanse me because I've just been too much in my head and I've been standing at this fence for too long. Or maybe you've made the decision. Maybe it's letting go of the fact that you're going to have to make a decision, and maybe these 2 weeks you just make that decision. And this is different than, say, like a justice energy, which is being objective and weighing it based on objectivity. This is more personal. This is something about you or about your choices in life or about the path you've been on that you have been really reflecting hard on, and now you kind of need to bring yourself out. You need to let yourself breathe. And then we get to Sagittarius. Another well-doing card for Zodiac. This and Aries. So the fire signs are doing well. You got the 10 of Cups. So you really might be feeling very, very expansive in your community. Maybe you live somewhere where you're just super happy with the neighborhood you're in, or the community that you've created, or the family that you've created. This just might be a really nice 2 weeks that just remind you why you moved to where you moved to, or why you took that job, or why you went on that international trip, or whatever. And it's proving to you that you can have everything you've been looking for in terms of your surroundings, everything that you've been wanting in terms of like the people around you and the curated life that you've created for yourself. So soak up these 2 weeks in that way. Even if other things aren't going that great, this might be something you want to remember for when things hurt, Capricorn. Oh, nice. All right, good. This is your 2 weeks. So you've got the King of Pentacles. That is an excellent card. It's feeling in control of your material world. It's feeling in control of your future in terms of what you're investing in. And in terms of finances, it's also very good. Also very good. So a lot of you might be expanding into new responsibilities, or at least investing deeply and heavily into things that are going to come out on the other side, making you stronger in the material world. So even if, you're still down and out when it comes to finances, or when it comes to just enjoying being on planet Earth, this is telling me the next 2 weeks you are really putting in the effort, the energy, the timing, the money to become that person. And you feel like it's possible. And it's an Earth sign. And I would say Capricorn would go well with the King of Pentacles, because Capricorn is the managerial sign of the zodiac. It's the one that will take on the responsibility. That and Cancer. That's their duality, but also like the bind that keeps them together is that they both take on a lot of responsibility. Oh, and one even better, Aquarius, the lovers. Oh my goodness, Aquarius. You are going to be very, very attracted to something. You're going to expand into your attraction to something or someone. It doesn't always have to be someone. It's 2 weeks. Some of you may meet the love of your life. I don't know. But this is feeling really good about what you've connected yourself to and expanding into what you've connected yourself to. If it's a partnership, if it's a business partnership, if it's a co-ownership, if it's you and your career, because there's might be, a job opportunity or something that really pulls you in. Any of these things can be the next 2 weeks of you just feeling really in sync with what you've aligned yourself with, and you are okay with making concessions for that thing, because that's really what the Lovers is. That's why it talks about choices, is because when we're in love with something, we will make choices that ensure that love continues. And I think that's really important to remember about the Lovers. It's not always about bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, rose-colored glasses. It's about the fact that you love this so much that you will bend your life around it in order to keep the love going. So that's a great 2 weeks. And then finally, Pisces. We are ending on an interesting note. We have the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is all about keeping something to yourself, not wanting to rock the boat because you're afraid it's going to end badly. It's keeping your cards close, not communicating your feelings, not letting anything kind of ruffle your feathers. Some of you might be, I don't want to say it's an expansive feeling. I think it's more restrictive, but let's say it's a letting go feeling. Maybe you're letting go of the idea that everything that your heart has to be on your sleeve, that you have to say every thought that comes to your mind, that you have to be so transparent that everybody has to listen to you or believe you or understand you. And right now you're just letting yourself consider what it is that you even want to say, what it is that you want to give someone else, or what it is that you want to reveal, right? Because the next card, and I'm not saying that this is the card I pulled, but the next card after the Two of Swords is the Three of Swords, and that is betrayal and pain. So you're afraid that something is going to happen that's going to really hurt you if you were to open up. So take these 2 weeks to really consider the consequences of opening up and the consequences of not opening up. Does it mean enough to you to risk being hurt, or does it mean more to you to stay protected and not risk getting hurt? So I think that's up to you. I think that's what you're going to have to figure out, what you want to let go of by the end of this 2 weeks. So thanks so much for hanging out with me, everybody, and I will see you soon. I will see you in Saturn retrogrades. I think that's this weekend. And then we have a Mercury retrograde, and then right after that, we have a new moon in Leo. So take care, everyone, and I will see you all next week. Blessed be.